My experience has been that as a philosopher one can do oneself tremendous benefits just by not restricting oneself to one's national literature. There are intellectual reasons for this, first of all, but then of course also there are political reasons. Most of our interactions with other cultures, or indeed with history, is mediated through translation. So even if we don't think about it all the time or notice it, translation is the window through which we encounter other peoples and other periods and so forth in most cases.
The University of Chicago. This is where British-born Michael Forster has taught philosophy for the last 25 years. Professor Forster investigates the connection between language, comprehension and knowledge. Translation, both theoretical and practical, is one of the keys to understanding. On this basis, he wants to develop a global philosophy for the 21st century. Michael Forster is working on a set of ethics that seeks to do justice to the social differences between peoples. For him, human rights and putting them into practice are dependent on cultural conditions and cannot simply be assumed universally.
In the Anglophone world, much of philosophy is devoted to argue for a kind of Enlightenment universalism again. If you look more closely at logical principles or moral values, you will find that there's much more common ground than people in that German tradition believe there to be. I think the opposite. I think that actually the German tradition is exactly right about this, and that if anything, the variations and differences are more extreme than people have recognized.
Michael Forster's appreciation of cultural differences is drawn above all from the philosophy of Romanticism. He is recognized as an eminent authority with a unique profile, linking modern analytic philosophy of language with the Romantic philosophy of language of the 18th and 19th centuries.
I suppose if there's something that's a bit unusual in my interest in it, it would be the parts of German philosophy that I'm interested in and the topics and so on. So philosophy of language at this period, skepticism at this period, Herder, the Romantics, those are not things that most people who deal with German philosophy spend a lot of time on.
Forster's current work on the philosophy of language focuses on one great thinker in particular, Johann Gottfried Herder. In his book, After Herder, Forster designates him as the father of modern philosophy of language, who also revolutionized interpretation and translation theory. Herder's guiding themes are tolerance and curiosity. For him, all peoples are equal, which positions him at the very dawn of the Romantic movement in Germany. He was followed by poets and thinkers like Novalis and the brothers Schlegel, who shaped an epoch of openness for other cultures. Poetry was elevated to the level of knowledge. Feeling and irony were set against cold reason.
Within Germany itself, I think this is such a glorious part of the German intellectual tradition. I mean, not just intellectually glorious, but also ethically and politically glorious. And it's not, I think, as foregrounded as it could be within Germany itself.
By contrast, many Germans have a romantic vision of life in America. In the land of freedom, tolerance and openness are firmly anchored in history. The ethics of Romanticism certainly seem to fit perfectly.
There are also this cosmopolitanism, in particular what I call pluralist cosmopolitanism. That's to say, the sort of cosmopolitanism that makes room for diversity, including diversity in values, rather than being homogenizing. That is also, I think, a great virtue. This is a Herderian and Romantic idea that we should be cosmopolitans who respect and indeed applaud deep differences between cultures and also individuals.
As a philosopher, Michael Forster is both a romantic and a realist, a wanderer between worlds and an authority on their philosophic traditions. In this intermediary role, he has now been appointed to an Alexander von Humboldt Professorship at the University of Bonn.
Michael
Forster successfully advocates the combination of Western continental philosophy with the reception of analytic philosophy, which he fuses very convincingly. This combination is extremely important to us, and we are thus delighted that he has come to join us in Bonn. Forster will continue to maintain a philosophical pied-à-terre in Chicago while launching a comprehensive new research project in Bonn. We and the Others is the auspicious title. Perhaps it means he will go down in history as a romantic difference theorist.
The idea is roughly that one looks at the extent of difference, geistig is the right word, geistige Unterschiede, between cultures, between individuals, between historical periods. So the one philosophical question is just how extensive those differences are, can be, and so forth.